In this recording, I'm going to have some question related to God. Why God does not stop wars, viruses, diseases. Why we think God is supposed to do this, is supposed to be loving, is supposed to think this way. So I'll have some questions. I don't have answers. I'll just have questions to help people open their minds and think differently, because what I know, most people who are stuck into a dogma or religious thinking or their own philosophical thinking or scientific thinking, they are bound by this type of limits. So it's like you are in a box and you don't see what's outside because you decided that you want to stay in the box, even you know you can get outside the box, but it's comfortable or it serves the purpose, your purpose, meets your needs, and it takes effort to get outside that box. So that's one of the reasons people are stuck in their little boxes, because it's convenient. Like you go to your workplace for the last 10, 15, 20 years, and since it pays your bills and since you get the life you want, or even you don't want but still is comfortable, keeps you in that comfort zone. And if you want to get outside that comfort zone, it requires lots of effort, maybe financial effort, mental effort, a physical effort. So you are stuck into that box. Even sometimes you don't like the box you are in. It's like you are in a marriage and your spouse, let's say, which is a common behavior, you're a wife, you're a woman, and you're a weak person. So I'm not generalized this one, but it's very common. And the weak person is looking for a strong male, strong guy who can provide. So she doesn't have to have education, she doesn't have to put lots of physical labor. You know, she's taking care of the kids, and she is able to look after the house. And the independence, the financial and material independence, is out of the question, because she set herself some limits. And for that reason, she is choosing a husband or a provider who can ensure she has the minimum or whatever she needs, so she can look after the house, and the guy, the man, the man is looking after providing the needs, financial needs, and anything else that she is not willing or she is not able to provide. So that's kind of the idea of those women stuck in the box. And later, when she realized, you know what, financial independence is better, but it's too late. So now I have to put some effort to get outside that box, to get outside that marriage. So same thing with people stuck into certain religious dogma. And I'm not saying religions are not good. Religions are really important, and I will not detail into this recording. I've done that in different other recordings. But you don't have to take, and I'm not teaching you anything, but that's my perspective, my opinion. I'm not taking everything that religion is saying or is written in the Bible. So I do process the information. And some people may say, oh yeah, because you don't have a full 100% faith. yeah, one thing is the faith, and another thing is taking what the people tell me. And if I look at the these days, the modern days religious leaders and gurus and psychics and like humans who claim that they can connect you, or they connect themselves with God, and I look at those people and I filter, and of course humans these days are behaving similarly to humans those days when the Bible was written. So you can't say what's in the Bible, who wrote, where those thoughts or ideas came from, and who was the real visionary, who was making some claims that, you know, I got some thoughts from God or something. Can't say. And people who wrote the Bible thought, especially at those times when you had no scientific methods to test things, you don't question someone who become an authority, because those days the laws and the human rights were different. So questioning authority was out of the question for most people. You know, you don't want to question what the king was saying, or any religious leader who was tied to the king power, or they had actually a very high power in the state. So those are preamble. It was kind of a before I'm going to talk something about these questions, or pop those questions out of my mind, and on purpose I dress. Where's my hole here? See, this was my jacket was ripped off by a raccoon. So someone brought a raccoon in a cage, not a cage, a trap, and I put this jacket on the raccoon, on the trap on the top, and the raccoon grabbed it and pulled it and ripped pieces of it. So you can see some insulation coming out. This has nothing to do with the God, but you know, I do record. Some of these recordings are done in a purpose. I don't shave. I speak the way I speak. Many times I'm tired. Now it's 8 o'clock, and after 12 hours at work and on the road, I'm tired. So my speech is not really perfect. So one question, I'm supposed to get some stuff from Walmart to make some face masks. I'm going to make those by myself. Why God does not stop wars? Okay, so any question that you ask yourself or ask someone about God, behavior, or who's God, are coming from a human mind. So if you are a human, you will ask questions like a human, and all those questions are through your human experience, through your human emotions and perspective. Everything you do, everything you think of is through human perspective. You can't have a question without adding that human experience into that question, including my words. The words I'm using are related to the human experience. Every word. So if I say word, or if I say hand, is a representation of something that humans understand through their experience and their understanding, and all that comes through your five senses. If you have another sense opened up, a sense that opens a communication to the non-physical world, then you see or you understand the life and humanity a bit wider, just a bit wider. So you have like an extra sense, one more sense that helps you to widen your horizon. And once you open up to those senses, you don't think that these are two hands with a limitation. You will understand not only the purpose of your hands, but you will understand the energies around your hands, what you can do energetically with your hands, not only physically. And you will understand the humans connecting to each other at different levels. And not only that, you will understand the organization, the way the universe and the spiritual universe and the energies are organized in different manners, but still with some limitation. So you, once you open that and you expand those senses, you still think like a human with a wider horizon. You will not start becoming a sort of a god or someone who, or something, an entity who understands everything. Okay, so you will understand much more, but you have huge limitations. So you're still nothing. You're still a speck in the universe. So that being said, if you have questions or someone is asking questions about God, are those where the questions come from and who asked the questions? Could be a person who is very spiritual, could be a person who's very wise, could be a person who's very scientific mindset, could be a person who is very religious. So if you see all these different type of people with different type of thinking, then you realize that they ask these questions about who's God, why God does that, why God doesn't do that, why God doesn't intervene. Their questions are going to be different. And you may have a person like myself who have some level of understanding about religion and some level of understanding about spirituality, and I'm still very, very, very limited on my understanding and the way I ask those questions. And again, if I ask the question to myself, like I ask myself a question about God, has lots of limitations. So I'm just a human like you and like everyone else. Let me lock my car. So now, question: why God does not stop the wars? Question: if we are material beings, is God an energy being? Who created us? If we are energy beings, let's say we are a form of intelligent energy that gives us the shape, so makes us who we are. Okay? Is God part of us? Like many people believe that. Many people believe that God is everywhere. is in us, is in this world, this rock, is everywhere, okay? So that means God knows what's going on in my heart, in my mind. God knows before I ask a question, before I make a prayer. How about if God is somewhere in a remote dimension, okay? And maybe God has an experiment, like a farm here, farm on another dimension, on another planet or something, or different universe, and from time to time he looks and he says, oh yeah, those guys got crazy, you know. So got greedy, got started wars, killing each other, you know. They are not really my kids the way I thought about. Okay, so how about send some disasters to keep them in check, right? Now, how do we know that's not the case? And if that God is in that remote dimension or in a remote, another spiritual level, field or plane or something, how do we know that God can hear our thoughts and our prayers? How do we know? So those were the few questions, but I have a few other questions, and those are kind of weird, harder for people to understand. I mean, not for people, for some people, because they are outside the box. So I am not stuck with a way of thinking. I'm not stuck with a religious way of thinking, telling you that God is whatever, the light. Yeah, if I think that's the light, okay, and its light is somewhere far, like our sun in a universe, in a Milky Way galaxy. Okay, so if I think that way, and that sun powers up everything here, the grass, the cows, the fields, the fruits, everything. Okay, how we communicate with God? Do we have another form of communication that is we are unaware of? Now, let's say if we think, okay, God designed this world, and God has a plan. This is the last question. I have many other questions, but who cares? Who cares? You know, most people want to stuck into their own shell. They don't want to get outside, and they will not even dare to look at other people's questions or listen to other people's questions, because, you know, it doesn't serve them. And so if we think that God has a plan for everyone, including for the whole world, okay, so God has this plan. That means God being everywhere, or being a supreme entity, or even, let's say, if the God is somewhere else and can remotely connect to our world, like the quantum physics explains, you know, God is here, God is there, God is everywhere. And now he has this big plan for the world. He knows everything. He has all the powers. What God does to stop these wars? Maybe the wars are part of his plan. And what would be the plan? To have the best, the survivor, the best out of people, including wars that make the weak go, and sometimes even the strong go in the wars. But it could be an experiment to get the best out of the best, okay? And if God is in everyone, that means God can choose who are the people who would do some nasty stuff. And we would, through our mind, we would think, oh, that guy is bad. Like Bill Gates is a nasty guy who is dealing with viruses, and probably he has the vaccine already, and he give the vaccine to only his rich people, the political leaders and stuff. Or the other guy, Rockfield or something, the richest guy, or one of the rich family, or the Illuminati. Okay, so if God knows everything, probably God, okay, does make some choices. But again, those even questions or even answers are always through our human experience. So we cannot understand how the creator, we don't understand the world, we don't understand the human body. So of course we can't understand the supreme being. Anyway, so I'm getting to my shopping experience. See you later, bye bye.